All right, everybody, welcome back. Strong, well-fed, outspoken. I don't know actually what episode this is. I feel like we're close to episode 20,
Yeah,
which,
like I feel like this is almost like season 1. And
yeah,
it's a big episode because today is the first episode where I don't have a cup of coffee while we're recording.
yeah, fair, fair. Tell them how late it is for you right
I mean,
now.
oh yeah, it's a quarter after 8 p.m.
Yeah, if you had coffee right
Please don't
now,
drink coffee this
I
late,
would
you
be like,
guys.
please, girl. As stepping aside as your co-host here, as your coach, I'd be like, put that shit down.
Yeah, even as my own you know,
Accountability buddy.
yeah, even as my own, what do you call, like I have free will, I would not be drinking coffee this late.
Right now. Yeah. Praise the Lord for that. But yeah, I feel like we're at like kind of I don't think yet, but we're close to like our first monumental episode. It's which to me would be like, I don't know, 20.
Yeah.
Maybe people will say that doesn't count. It sounds like so nothing, but that's
But
like
I feel like it does for us because we really did just go into this with a
yeah,
complete blank slate, like no history,
yep.
no real knowledge of it. And so to have successfully been here for that long, it is pretty big for us.
Yeah, no, it absolutely, absolutely is. And so today we actually have a fun episode for you guys. We are doing a Q&A episode. As you guys know, we try and do these kind of like every 4 to 6 episodes. So we got some good questions for you guys today. We got some personal questions we're going to include as well. And hopefully there will be something that you guys can take home from this. But we're going to talk about everything from workouts, nutrition. I think we got some, questions on stubborn muscle growth and stuff like that. So, on that note, we're literally going to hop in
But
and
actually, before we hop in,
yeah.
if you've been here before, you know
Oh
us, you
yeah, I
know
guess
us. If this is your
no.
first episode, well, welcome. Let's talk about who we are. So, I'm Coach Nel, and I have been hosting and being a pain in my wonderful co-host ass for this whole time, and she is.
Yeah, what up, everybody? Sorry, I'm like cutting right to the chase here. My name is Rusty, aka Coach Frizzle, or the Miss Frizzle of Fitness, and yeah, we are your hosts together for the Strong, Well-Fed, Outspoken Pod. This will be an interesting one if this is your first time, but as you guys can hear, we kind of keep it like fly by the seat of our pants. We kind of keep it just like fun and very real and lighthearted, with little to no editing on the podcast shows.
Almost none. But
Yeah,
if I feel like if you like people watching and you
yeah.
like you're the kind of
This is the
person that
pod.
like sits on your phone or your book while you're like on public transit and you listen to other people talk, that's
Yeah.
kind of the vibe we have here.
100% it is. Absolutely it is. So yeah, hence why I totally forgot to do the intro
I cut you
for
off. That was
this.
my fault.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you for catching that. But we are going to start off with literally a topic that comes up a lot and is kind of along the lines of growing your glutes.
Because everybody wants a juicy booty. Nobody writes a song about flat abs. Songs
Yeah.
get written about a big old badonkadonk.
Yeah, unless you grew up in like the 90s when like having no butt as a female was like the thing back then. It just, it's all about big strong glutes. And for some of us, myself included,
So yeah, we are team no glute, if we're being
yeah,
honest.
you have some good glutes, but
They have come.
true, they have morphed. I have really strong glutes, but I was not also blessed with the glute genetic gene, so growing them has been fun. And along that line, our first question here was, do I have to do hip thrusts to grow my glutes? And then I love this because in capitals they added, I hate them. And honestly, I'm not a hip thrust. I've learned to love hip thrusts, but like, oh man, I am just not team hip thrust it doesn't come naturally to me, which usually means that you need to spend more time doing it. But yeah, hasn't been my forte, my cup of tea. How do you feel about hip thrusts?
See, I would rather hip thrust than probably like hack squat or things like that because
You have really
I'm a giant. Yeah, I just like being
yeah.
closer to the ground. It's a smaller range of movement for me,
Yeah.
which makes me more inclined to do it. It feels like, and like this is where we talk about like our own egos and stuff being in the way. It feels like I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, totally. No, that's so fair. That's so fair. Yeah, you are really tall, so your legs, like everything kind of becomes a glute dominant movement for
Yes.
you.
Yeah, and I have
Because
messaged you, be like, I don't think I can do this setup.
yeah. Oh, many times. Yeah, which is a whole other thing. I'm like, I guess average height, like 5'6.5". So for me, and I'm like very quad dominant.
You are
So
very
yeah,
quad
I
dominant.
will, I will
Fucking
totally take,
meat sticks.
yeah, squats and hack squats. But hip thrusts, guys, it's one of those things where, okay, first of all, in terms of like, do I have to do hip thrusts? No, of course not.
No, you
Um,
never have to do anything.
yeah, exactly. Are hip thrusts like essential for growing your glutes?
Yeah, I guess maybe a better question is what would be the main reason for doing a hip thrust?
Yeah.
Like we have to understand the mechanics of it, right? And it's a really good way to isolate that body part, that area of the body. Like when we're
Yeah.
doing a squat or something like that, a lot of other things are involved. So that is why it would be beneficial to do a hip thrust.
Yeah. So when we look at this is a very good point. So when we look at a hip thrust, okay, it is first of all training your glutes in a very shortened and contracted position. Are there other exercises that will train your glutes in a shortened position that you could do instead? Absolutely. But the thing with the hip thrust is it's one of the only exercises that are going to get you to train your glutes in their shortest and most contracted position while moving some serious weight. Because realistically speaking, okay, so other exercises that will train your glutes in their shortened position are kickbacks, of course, right? Glute med, glute max kickbacks, hip abduction of, so many different varieties there. Frog pumps.
Yeah, really anything that's sort of like you would think like a bridge position or anything that sort of mirrors that thrust shape, right?
Yep. Yep. Even like the back extension machine, but hip extension version, right?
I
So
was just gonna ask you about a hyperextension.
yeah, thank you, man. My brain is not working today. The hyperextension also going to train your glutes in a shortened position. But again, with all of these exercises, now some people will get really strong with a glute max kickback or a glute med kickback. But again, when you get strong at a hip thrust, like you'll see girls repping out 4 plates a side, right? And you are not doing the same amount of weight when you do a glute max kickback. So do you have to hip thrust? No, but it is one of the most beneficial exercises to grow your glutes, unfortunately. And again, I'm really not super in love with them either. But yes, I would say if you are serious about glute growth, then you probably want to be including some type of thrust bridge position.
And also like what is growing your glutes, right? Do you want strong glutes or do you
Stronger,
want
bigger.
big, huge glutes? Because
Yep.
those are not necessarily the same thing. I would
Yep.
say you and I both have fairly strong glutes.
Yep.
Neither of us are getting songs written about us.
Yeah. Don't J-Lo.
Maybe our biceps or our shoulders.
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good point too. Yeah, what type of growth are you looking for? You can absolutely get good size as well without necessarily moving a ton of weight. Remember as well, a big part of this equation, like 90% of the time, is
food. You got to eat. That's
the
why we're well fed.
exercise. Yep, the exercise exactly of hand to mouth, baby. Like your glutes are not growing bigger in size if you're always in a calorie deficit. So keep that in mind here as well. And then we're going to go right into question number 2 with this because they kind of play back to back with each other.
Yeah. So are there some things that will genetically never change no matter how hard you train? Been lifting heavy and doing CrossFit for 8 years and can't build nice definition in booty or hamstrings. Also have annoying inner knee chub. Eating right with nutrition coaching as well.
That's awesome. First of all, inner knee chub, I'm like, are you just talking about your adductors or actual? Because strong adductors definitely on the inside of the knee there. But
yes. Nobody's got a thigh gap if they got strong thighs.
Yeah, literally though.
And this is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a trend. I'm glad that died as well, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, no. Like, are there some things that will, so what they say genetically never grow?
Yes.
No matter how hard you train. In my opinion, no. Will you have stubborn muscle groups? Will you have stubborn areas of the body? Absolutely, yes. But it's more about the plan that you're taking, the volume that you're doing, the exercises, right? Like, are you connecting with the exercises you're doing? Are you getting good mind muscle engagement when you're doing them? Are you pushing them to progressive overload? Are you pushing to failure with those movements while all of the tension is still on the muscle that we're trying to target? the other thing I'll say here is that for a lot of people, they feel like they're doing everything they could, but they're actually not, because what they're doing is they're doing like 2 exercises for a stubborn body part and then wondering why it's not growing. If you're talking about a muscle group that is not going, you likely need to really increase your volume. This is one of the biggest reasons why people don't grow their shoulders. They don't realize that your shoulders actually, first of all, but they benefit from a higher amount of volume. And a lot of people will do like one lateral raise movement in a workout. And even though they'll push it to failure, they'll be like, that should be enough. No, it's not enough at all. So when
because every single like time we think about a muscle, we say, you know, quads or we say bicep or whatever. But what we're not really accounting for is that these are multiple things all working in unison. And so if you're only doing one thing, you're shorting yourself, right? Because there are other ways to hit that same muscle group, because it is that a group. And the thing with genetics that you cannot change is your limb length. I mean, barring being a teenager going through puberty. And so sometimes it's not that you're not necessarily putting effort in, it's you're not utilizing the tool of your limb length, right? There can be a better setup sometimes for specific things based on your actual anatomy.
Mechanics, yeah, for sure, for sure. When it comes to, you know, glutes, as we kind of just talked about, right? So you should be training glutes. Like if you're really trying to grow your glutes, get them stronger, and they're a stubborn muscle group, you should be training them at least 3 times a week, right? A lot of people will think like, I am doing a hip abduction exercise. No, you should be doing 3 to 4 hip abduction exercises, and you should be doing, you know, sure, you could use the abduction machine for one. You could do a glute med kickback for another. You could do a glute med kickback inclined off of a bench, which I know probably sounds confusing just from like vocabulary. You could do kind of like a windmill style glute kickback. There's so many different ranges, positions that you can put your body in so that you are moving weight in different directions from different angles and different positions. And all of these will contribute to your growth. But again, most people stick to like the same 3 exercises, rotate through those, and wonder why they're not growing. So,
and I think too, like this is pretty common in bodybuilding. And I know you and I both do this, but a lot of the times when we're looking at training, we kind of approach it from a very general, right? We want to keep the body balanced, but if we're already imbalanced and like you said, you're quad dominant, right? Maybe you have overactive hamstrings, these kinds of things. It's okay to train something more often.
Yes.
Right. Because that's the other thing. And this is something I used to get caught up in very much. It's like, oh, you know, I did the quads, I did the hamstrings, and I did the glutes. Well, my quads are working overtime. So why am I hitting them multiple times a week and neglecting other body parts? Now, obviously you cannot spot reduce in your training, right? Like this, we've talked about this before, but you can absolutely train a body part more often than other ones.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit there. To answer your question, no, I think neither of us believe that it's basically impossible genetically to grow certain body parts or muscle groups. Period. You just need the right plan of attack.
And to not compare, right?
Yeah.
Your body is individual. And so I'm not going to look the same way someone that is 5'4" is going to look, regardless of if we trained exactly the same. And I think sometimes we let that get in the way instead of going, is this building? We go, I want to look like that person. And I think that's where a lot of us kind of go astray.
Yes, absolutely. That comparison mindset is so real. All right. So question 3, kind of a personal question here. Do you guys drink alcohol? What do you think of the alcohol-free trend that seems to be popping up?
It's a great question, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think alcohol, actually, what's really interesting for me is you may have seen this too. I've been coaching for quite a while, and I've often coached the population my age and above. And drinking is really prevalent. Like a lot of us grew up drinking. I'm now coaching younger people. Maybe if you're listening, you're like sort of early 20s. You guys are drinking less in general.
Yeah.
And it's very cool.
When I first read this question, I was like, alcohol-free trend. And then I thought about it. And actually, I talked about it with Steph. I was like, yeah, you know what? I would say that I see more of a upshift in people choosing not to drink at all ages and stages. But yeah, especially in the younger years. And I think that that's awesome. If anything's coming from the right place, then I think that that's fantastic.
Mhm.
So to answer the question, so on one hand, first of all, I drink maybe a few times a year. I'm not really. I used to drink a lot more. If you guys have been listening to us from the beginning, we've talked about this, especially on the holiday
Mhm.
episodes. I used to drink, yeah, a lot more, especially in like my early 20s. But I really don't drink much anymore because for me, everything that I do is about feeling as good as possible. And alcohol just usually doesn't have me feeling as good as possible. Um, so yeah, I will, if like we're at not even always, but I find if we're at like a wedding, open bar, usually we like have a hotel room. That's maybe when I'll have some drinks. Usually there's like a cottage night where we'll have some drinks, and then Steph and I do travel quite a bit. So like I might have like a glass of wine. I love sangria. So I might have sangria as just like a drink here and there. But like if we're talking like a few drinks, maybe getting a little buzz going, maybe a couple times a year, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah. What about you?
So like you, I used to drink quite heavily.
Hmm.
I actually don't drink at all anymore,
Yeah.
period. And that was for a couple of reasons. One was the physical reaction I had anytime I drank.
Hmm.
It was like allergies. Like I would get
Hmm.
itchy and my
Yes.
face would be all blotchy and I'd immediately have a headache. Like a couple of sips. We're not talking hungover.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was one of the reasons. And another reason is a lot of people in my family struggle with addiction.
Hmm.
And I could see myself relying on those things when I knew that could be a really slippery slope. So I gave it up for that reason. But also like it's really hard to make progress in your health
Yes.
journey when you
It
drink.
really is.
We just
It
need to
really
say
is.
that. There's
Mhm.
not this benefit to it. It's extra calories, which if weight loss is your goal makes it very tough, and it
Mhm.
causes inflammation in the body in a
Yep.
not positive way whatsoever. So
Yeah.
I actually don't drink at all anymore.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I want you guys to know, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, but like me and my wife, me and my husband, we really like to have a glass of wine like a week for a date night. That's fine.
Yes, that yeah,
It's not
absolutely. I'm not
gonna
opposed in
make,
any way.
yeah, yeah, it's not gonna, all of a sudden make it extremely hard for you to, but we're talking about people who will have, 3 glasses of wine a couple times a week. Then we're getting into kind of different territory there. Um, but I actually like the question, like, with the alcohol, let's call it a trend. Hopefully it's not a trend. Hopefully it's just like,
Mhm.
a shift in society. But I do find that right now, I feel like sometimes there's this push that like drinking alcohol is just evil.
Mm.
Sometimes I feel like social media is creating any type of alcohol consumption to be just a very bad
Yes,
negative
like
thing.
demonizing it in a
Yes, yes,
and not
like
yeah,
with
you
dating
should be giving
groups
it
and
up
stuff.
as a positive, not for fear of the negative, right?
Exactly. And that I'm not a fan of. So one thing I want to say is like I don't really drink anymore. Like I said, maybe 2 to 3 times a year. But just because I choose not to drink right now doesn't mean that my memories of drinking were all negative or bad. For
Truly,
me,
yeah.
honestly, I have great memories of drinking. I have amazing, hilarious, full of love, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud to say that I had great memories drinking.
Yeah.
Not everybody chooses to not drink because of something negative or because of, again, right, like, and there's no disrespect with that. I totally respect what you're saying now about why you chose to stop drinking. I just think that as a society we need to be really careful, just in the same way we talk about how, like, some foods don't agree with some people and some foods agree with others. Donuts are sometimes foods and not, anytime food. We don't demonize anything, and I think alcohol should fall into the same category there. I think we
Mhm,
should just
that's very true.
but
And I think a lot of the times too, people almost feel guilty for saying no to it
yep.
in social settings, right? And
Yeah,
I run into
absolutely.
that a lot, right? It's
Yep.
not that you're possibly wanting to cut back or give it up, but
Mhm.
it feels very difficult to do that because
Yeah.
people go like, "Well, why don't you
Why
drink?"
aren't you drinking? Yeah,
Right?
it's still a common
And
question.
if
Absolutely.
you're not drinking, they almost expect an answer similar to mine in
Yep.
that like, "Oh, I'm an addict," or I can't because it makes me sick." They're expecting that and not just a
I don't feel like it.
Yeah. I don't
Mind your
want to right
business,
now.
bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Honestly, it's interesting how as well, yeah, as a society, that's something that hasn't changed. And it's always interesting to me why people feel they have the right to ask that.
It's true.
You
It's
know,
very
like,
true.
I'm sorry, why are you drinking? Just because it's there? Like,
Yeah. Like,
you
why did
know,
you order French fries? Why did you not have a side of
yeah,
veggie? Right? It's the same
yeah,
thing.
it is. It's really interesting.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So my question then,
Mhm.
knowing that you don't drink often, do you ever order mocktails? Is that something that you
No.
also don't really bother with?
No, I couldn't be bothered because for me, that's just like empty calories. And I would rather, like, if we're talking about calories from a budget perspective, I would rather eat my calories always. Um, yeah, no, I don't like love a pina colada enough to get like a virgin pina colada. But to be honest with you, like I can't remember the last time I ordered a pina colada if I wasn't at an all inclusive.
Mhm.
You know, like
True,
I don't
true.
love it really, but I'm getting it anyways. I am a water or as we talked about, and I think in our last
Yeah,
Q&A,
our finger.
cream soda.
See, and I will say I'm the opposite. I will actually
Get a
order a
mocktail.
mocktail
Okay, okay.
because I
You don't
love a
drink
Caesar.
alcohol.
So
Okay.
if you're not a Canadian, you don't know what I'm talking about. It's not a salad.
Is it not in the States at all?
No. So it's
Wow,
basically
I
a
didn't know
Bloody
that.
Mary with clam juice. Now, before you yuck my
Yeah.
yum,
Yeah, people are like,
Caesars were my
"Clam
drink of
juice."
choice. I love them because they come with a little snack. They're a very flavorful beverage. And
Mhm.
so I will still occasionally order the mocktail version of that. Like I will order that without alcohol and I will
Okay.
happily drink those calories. So
Mhm.
just because I don't drink alcohol, I actually enjoy a mocktail, whereas you have chosen also to not really drink, but in the same boat, the mocktails kind of fall into the like, it's not really serving my purpose right now.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, not really. When I do drink, I'm definitely I've always been more of a hard liquor girl. So like
Oh,
I'm a
have you
Ryan
been?
Ginger, tequila, kind of girl. So yeah, but again, I don't really do that anymore because it just doesn't have me feeling my best most of the time.
And that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And, that's basically where we both end up on it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm feeling a big drop in motivation after years of consistent gym time. Should I take a break or just push through?
That's tough, right? Because we're using the term motivation,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
To me, motivation is fleeting,
Yeah.
right? And so we're looking at building out the habit or the discipline of working out.
Hmm.
So when you say you're losing motivation, what does that actually mean, right? Is
Yeah.
it that your workouts feel stagnant and that's
Hmm.
not keeping you interested in going? Or is
Hmm.
it that you started a habit and it got hard or other stuff in life came up
Hmm.
and you don't want to deal with it anymore?
Yeah. Yeah. I find whenever people bring up motivation, I just need to get motivated again, or I'm not feeling motivated enough to go. For me, that says that you are waiting for a feeling. You haven't actually built the discipline yet. You haven't, as you kind of said about discipline, but you haven't figured out winning in life is often more about doing what's required rather than what we feel like. And that's a really big thing. Now, that doesn't mean that like you have to suffer and gruel. I think that there is power. This was an option that you didn't actually suggest, right? Because this question said, should I just take a break or push through?
Yes,
What
and also
about
that you have been consistent in the gym for about a year. So we are assuming here that you probably have some sort of discipline in the mix.
Yeah, actually, they said after years of
Oh,
consistent sometimes. So
okay.
you have
Yep.
been going for quite a while. But yeah, as a third option, instead of thinking again, because your question is posed as all or nothing. Should I take a break or push through? Right? Literally all or nothing. What about middle ground here? What about you decide to go and you switch it up? What about you take the next 2 weeks to just do what you feel like during those days? Because here's the thing, if you've been going to the gym for years, your progress isn't going to suffer because you stop following a strict plan for a couple of weeks. If you decide, you know what, maybe I'm going to take a little bit week 1 of a deload. So let's say you currently work out 4 or 5 days a week. You say, I'm going to just work out twice this week or 3 times this week. And each of those days, I'm just going to do what I feel like. Maybe you do something different and take a class. Maybe you decide today I'm just going to do all my favorite movements. Maybe the next day you decide I'm going to do something with a friend, whatever it is, right? Like gamify your workouts for the next couple of weeks. Have some fun with it. Relight that passion that you felt. And I bet you will probably feel more motivated.
Yeah.
And if
I would almost say more passionate about being in the gym again.
Yeah. And if you're not watching, I just use the air quotes there with motivated.
We love air quotes.
Yeah, you're not feeling, motivated. You probably will after a couple of weeks. So don't feel like it has to be all or nothing. It's not about pushing through or, taking a break. You can find some middle ground here. And to be honest, one of the ways I think I have personally just been able to work out for years and years is because I do gamify my workouts. I do have fun with it.
Yeah. What did we do? Was it last year where we just did deadlifts for reps? Like just max it out, right? Like see how many you could do at your body weight, right? Like make it a little fun, break through the stagnant part of the habit, right?
Exactly. Give yourself some challenges that are outside of the normal box and just have fun. Nothing bad is going to come from that.
Literally go to the gym and copy what other people are doing. Just watch someone and then do that and see if it feels good, right? Like make it fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't watch them in a creepy way though.
Yeah.
Don't immediately do exactly what they're doing besides them.
Yeah. That's always an interesting one. But for sure, feel free to play around with it a little bit, gamify it a little bit, take a couple extra days off. Go do something. If it's summer where you are right now, go do something outside and make your workout that day something that's completely outside of the box. But it's not all or nothing here. Find new ways to.
And when you're saying like, should I take a break? Are you lacking I'm going to put air quotes around motivation here because of other factors? Like what else is going on in your life? Is there more going on in your life now than there was when you first started going to the gym and you're feeling like you're not doing enough in the gym and that's why you're not being there consistently, or you're feeling like that's lacking? Is it because your energies are being used elsewhere? And if they are, maybe that's okay, right? It's okay to have other things going on. Maybe the workouts need to change and fit in better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we got time for two more. I think Nell had a good one that came through, like another fun one.
Yeah, so this is very specific. I hope you like both of these things.
Yeah.
Would you rather give up cheese or sushi forever? You can never have it again.
This is awesome. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't love both of those things? First of all, I just want to say right now, the best sushi is the ones that also have the cream cheese in it. So hello. I guess if you have to pick one or the other, I guess you can't ever get sushi with the cheese then, because that would be breaking.
That's true.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, I give up cheese. 100%.
Really?
100%.
Tell us why.
Not even. I don't even need more than like 5 seconds to say cheese.
Okay, well, I need the reason now. Explain yourself.
Because sushi is fucking phenomenal. Sushi is amazing. It's so good. Sushi is literally one of my favorite meals. I think I could eat sushi every day.
Yeah, like when you do a refeed or you're like, there's like that, we're not being very specific. It's a sushi, right? Like,
oh yeah. There was a period last year when I was in my deficit where I was having my free meal every week. And I think Steph and I, because he would always pretty much let me choose, and he loves sushi as much as I do, so he was not complaining. But I think for like 8 weeks, it was sushi every single time.
That's fair. When I didn't care about my body in any way, my little brother and I went for all you can eat sushi.
Yep.
4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Because every Thursday there was like all you can eat sushi. And we were there and they're like, oh, they're here. And they'd put us in the little private room.
Yeah, no, I'm not even honestly, I'm definitely, when I was, like you said, when I did not give shit at all, that was definitely the phase I was in too. But I remember at the time, me and some friends for a few weeks in a row hitting sushi all you can eat, like you said. And believe me, I ate every single.
I can still put it away.
Oh yeah. Sushi, to be honest, for me, all you can eat sushi is probably something that I actually have to be more careful of still.
Yes.
Because as a former binge eater, it is very easy for me to just eat and eat and eat. And I love sushi so much. And like dim sum, I love dim sum. I love literally everything on the all you can eat sushi menu. So I will eat.
And
So yeah.
see, I love that because we were actually talking about like what's something like we kind of disagree on. And this is actually one of them. And I had no idea.
So
I
you
would
would do sushi?
100% give up sushi. I'm keeping that
No.
cheese. I will
No.
throw hands for
Oh
anyone
my
who disagrees with
gosh.
me.
I
Yes, I have cheese every day. I have cheese in an assortment of ways, like soft cheese, hard cheese. I have planned trips around cheese shops.
what kind oh man, bro. I like cheese to me is good. I enjoy cheese, but like you can't make
I
a
will
full
eat
meal out
cheese
of
by itself.
cheese.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
No, you can't. You can't make
Literally,
a
okay,
full meal out
so
of what are you gonna have? Like 5 different bricks of cheese? Like you can't
absolutely I
have a
would.
full meal. Yeah, and then you'll shit yourself.
I'm okay with it. No,
That's
okay, so you guys don't know,
crazy.
but if you're one of our one-on-one clients or athletes, we have a like a group message. Community is important to us. And
Yeah.
I actually just shared a recipe and I said, this is what I eat for breakfast. I will take this pancake and I will put cheese in it and eat it like a taco.
Wow, bro. But see, but okay, like you're kind of
I am
being
usually
real
putting
with it with
cheese
that,
in
but like
things as a meal. But here's the thing, I can give up sushi and I'll be sad a little bit sometimes. I can give up cheese
no.
and be sad a little bit all the time.
I don't even think I would cry if I had to give up cheese. I'm one of
I
those
would.
like honestly, you know where I would miss cheese the most? In the
The
Philly
cream cheese
roll.
in your sushi. Yeah.
Yeah, in the salmon with cream cheese in the Philly roll. I love those rolls, but there's a million like I will eat every single sushi roll. So,
That's fair. I don't discriminate when it comes to sushi.
buy cheese. Yeah, no, you just discriminate against sushi as a whole.
If I was like this was my last thing that was keeping me alive, I would give up sushi. I'm
Wow.
not giving up either of them if I
Yeah,
had
you're
to.
not going to stay alive because cheese is not going to sustain
Because
you.
Russ is coming
If you
for
put
me.
both of us on an island for like a month and you're like, you only get to eat cheese and you only get to eat sushi, guess who's staying alive?
True. We talk about a balanced plate.
Yeah,
That's very
I
true.
100% am.
I would actually say the thing you and
dysentery.
I disagree the most on is food to eat.
Yeah. But I think that's we should save that question.
Absolutely. We're coming
But
back to this.
if you guys have an opinion here, what would you give up? Let us know in the comments. Would you give up sushi or would you give up cheese if you had to give one of them up for life? Not like 24 hours, forever. You could only you could never have cheese or sushi again. What are you giving up? Let us know.
Yeah. Also, I didn't really think about this. Can I still have the parts of sushi? Because if I had to
No.
get, so I can't have rice. Okay, I changed my answer.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Just
Just checking.
rice. But I thought you meant like how like, you know, I forget what's I forget what it's called. Nigiri, where it's no, I don't think so, because that's just the fish with rice.
Sashimi with the
Sashimi.
just
Yeah.
fish
Like
and
you
rice.
can't have sashimi.
Yeah, like if okay, I'm okay with that. But like if I couldn't have rice or like
Rice? No,
salmon
no.
ever,
Yeah,
that would
no,
change my
that's
answer.
different. Yeah, that's different. All right, guys, we got one more for today. I like this one.
Let's do it.
It was a good one. How the hell do I get myself to start doing core? I absolutely dread it. I dread it too. I worked out this morning and I'm like really pushing core training, ab training lately. And so I'm going to tell you what I do, but I didn't do it this morning. I still got it done. I still made sure I got it done, but I didn't follow what I'm about to tell you this morning. And then I was like, because yeah, it's next level. In my opinion, the best way to do core is to do it first. Whatever, like literally the most simple answer here, but if like, chances are you know what you should be doing. There's a million different core exercises out there. Chances are your plan even has core in it, but you either just skip over it or you're like, I don't want to do this because you hate doing it. I don't care where core technically falls in your plan. Make it the first thing that you do. Get it done first when your workout is highest or when you're scratching your face off because your pre-workout kicked in. But you will feel so much better knowing you got it done, and then you can focus on the rest of your workout. And you likely also suck at doing core, which is why you hate it. So again, doing it first when your energy is higher, you're going to get a better connection to doing core.
Your workout is now just core and hip thrusts.
Yeah. This is the same person. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so with core though, let's talk about it a little bit. I think we can squeeze in a few more minutes. What is your definition of core work? Right? Because a lot of people think it's just like sit-ups and crunches.
Yeah, I mean, in the context of this question, I think that's what they're asking.
Like
I
that's
mean,
what we're, yeah,
yeah, because I mean, they're not, we're not going to be talking about like how do I do core work when we're talking about a deadlift because they're not going to
no,
be,
true.
yeah. And yeah, with what you're saying, absolutely. Like core work is literally everything that we do all the time, right? Deadlift, squatting, your core is involved in absolutely everything. But yeah, I think they mean abdominal training for this one.
That's totally fair.
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I actually have never trained my core specifically through core work.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, obviously I've worked my core and we've done some things like rotation and anti-rotation movements or things like cable crunches, right?
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily like if you're just asking in particular about like sit-ups or just crunches, there are other options, right? There are other ways to isolate that area of the body that aren't,
Mhm.
getting on the floor and doing 40 sit-ups. So
Yes,
that's the
absolutely.
other thing too, right? Like if you hate it, why do you hate it? Do you hate it because that's what you're doing, or do you hate it because your core is very weak, right?
Totally. Yes. And so that going back to your question before, that's a good point there. Yeah, how are you training core if you are only doing like the old classic style sit-ups and crunches? Like let's switch it up. Let's get some dynamic movements happening. Let's get some ab drags going, like you said, anti-rotational movements. Different ways to train your core will likely also make your core stronger. And so therefore you
True.
won't hate it as much.
Yeah, because if your core is very weak because you've had kids or something like that, maybe
Mhm.
sit-ups aren't the best option because we're trying to limit things like doming or coning. So maybe we need to start with something like dead bugs and work our way into other movements from there. So
Yes.
if
Yeah.
it's not enjoyable because it's not feeling good, that's the
Mhm.
other thing too, right?
Absolutely. Very, very good point. Absolutely. Absolutely. So hopefully you guys got something or at least a laugh out of this week's episode. This is like I said, Q&A that we try and do about every 4 episodes or so. So if you guys have a question right now that you already know and you don't want us to miss or you don't want to forget by the next time we post a Q&A box for a pod, drop it in the comment section below, or likewise message it to us on Instagram. You guys can find me under Coach.Frizzle on every platform.
And I'm also on every platform under coach.alana.nel. And if you're like, I don't know how to spell that, cool. My name is in the description.
Yeah. But
Fun fact about me, because we're doing weird stuff. If you
yeah.
say just my first initial and my last name, it's anal.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Regrets.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. When did you learn that?
So after my husband and I were engaged, my sister
Yeah,
was
you
living
broke
with us
terms.
and we're laying in bed and I can hear her maniacally laughing one night. And I was like, why are you laughing? She's like, I just said your name out loud, what it's going to be when you get married. And at that point, it was too late.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's amazing. So, similar actually story between my sister and I, ironically, but not this wasn't about me. It was when she got engaged. My sister's first name is Holly. She wound up marrying a man named Stephen Wood. So we were laying in bed, and this one they
That's
weren't
awesome.
engaged yet, but yes, they were really serious. And she all of a sudden starts laughing. I'm like, "What's so funny?" And she's like, "If Stephen and I get married, I just realized what my name will be." Hollywood. I'm like, yo, that's
That's
bomb.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she
That's
actually
like when you're a firefighter and your name's like Les McBurney or something. That's
imagine. Oh
awesome.
my gosh. But like she didn't even have to like make this up. So she actually runs a dance studio and it's called Hollywood like Studios. And she can legally do that
I
because her
love
name is
this.
legally that name. If you tried to do that, like if you or anyone else, you like they would sue you. But
Mhm.
because it's her legal name, she can do it. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you could never do that.
No. And when someone's like, you're being anal, I'm like, yeah, it's in my name. I don't know how
Yeah.
to do anything else.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome, man. All right,
So
guys.
yes, send us your questions for our next Q&A and also like follow along because we sometimes answer stuff on our socials
Yep.
that we don't answer here. But we save some of those for later. So
Yes, yes, exactly. So until next week, you guys, we'll be back with a fresh episode. If you guys enjoyed this or you found it useful, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. It helps us out huge, baby. And also share this on your social media. Share it with a friend. Share it
and
with
tag us in it.
yeah.
Tag us at strong. Do we have dots in our podcast
I believe
ones?
so.
Yeah.
We should
So
probably name them.
strong.wellfed.outspoken, and
Yep.
then tag us individually as well.
Yeah, and we would love to hear what you guys thought. Otherwise, have an absolutely amazing day, cousins. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.